Medium ghetto, intelligent, her conversation, so won't you come hang with the gang? Relatable topics from coming up broke to the nonsense, they all come along with these dames. From trust funds to trappin', we cover it all in with laughter, so won't you come grab you a seat? From also Othello, you know that we medium ghetto and nothing can even compete. Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome to the Medium Ghetto podcast with your host, Jamar. And today we got the man in the building. Who's the man?
Aaron Bowers. You may know me on Facebook as Aaron Bowers. Also, I have various aliases that you may see on my story timeline. Mr. Bid, the Weatherman, Brother Darnell, Mr. Timothy. If you don't know me, follow me on Facebook at Aaron Bowers 119.
A man of many hats and many influences. But today, our topic today is the two-job economy. We're going to be going over what's going on in the economy and why so many people, and discusses why so many people need two jobs nowadays. We're even going to dabble a little bit in how, some of our older generations going back to work after so many years just to make ends meet. Not even vacation, ends meet. But with that being said, just to get a little background in my professional background, I'm a business owner, own a hot sauce company, as well as I am also I'm also doing human resources at a big name company. I cannot say the name of the company, but it employs a lot of people, over millions of people a year.
And for myself, I work for the city of Chester. I have worked for the city of Chester going on 10 years this year. I transferred from the highway department to the safety department to work as a nuisance inspector just a short 5 years ago. So I'm currently doing that. And I'm also working at Total Wine overnight as a merchandiser.
So how many hours a week you work?
I want to say roughly about 75.
75? Was that two full-time jobs?
Yep, 2 full-time jobs.
And you a dad as well with a whole family, right?
Yep, a dad, a husband.
So tell us a little bit about your family life.
Me, my wife, my daughter, we all live together in an apartment in Claymont. We've been there going on 5 years, I believe. She works a full-time job. Our schedules they don't complement each other, so we see each other for the most part when I wake up in the morning to leave out, when I come home for lunch on my daytime job, and on Sunday and Monday, Sunday the full day, and then Monday evening.
Okay, so you have a family, pretty much a full family right there. Paying a good amount of bills and whatnot. Yep. But in addition to that, like, why are you working 2 jobs?
That's a good question. I always worked the second job. Most of the time they were part-time or they were per event. I worked at the Philadelphia Union Stadium. I worked at the Philadelphia Eagles Stadium. I also did Amazon Prime, I believe it's called. I can't quite remember. I think that's what it is when you drive and deliver a package independently. But all of those things, they just weren't sufficing. I was just getting by. I barely just had enough, and maybe I may be living beyond my means, and I'm not going to be delusional, and I can say that I am living beyond my means, but I'm living. And sacrifices have to be made. And I dug myself in the hole this past year, a pretty deep one. I say I hit rock bottom. So, in me climbing my way out, I had to go get another full-time job because I use my vehicle primary for both of my jobs. Mm-hmm. And then right before I applied for the Total Wine job, I had cracked my rim, or I bent my rim. So I got the job just in the nick of time, right before holiday season. So I didn't have to worry about being a per diem or working there seasonally. And I actually was looking to be part-time at that job, but when I went to my interview, they said we can give you 40 hours or we can give you 50 hours. I was thinking more about like 32, but I said I'll start out with the 40 and we'll go from there. So I did work some 50-hour weeks during the peak season. The week before Thanksgiving, the week of Thanksgiving, the week before Christmas, and the week of Christmas. So
That's
luckily,
crazy.
luckily I have sick time, personal time, vacation time with the city, and we have off paid holidays. I think we have about 14 to 15 paid holidays. So I could take off in the morning if I work at night if I would be too tired. So that was one benefit to my
To your
my advantage.
That's great. So it gave you a little bit more wiggle room. It wasn't so your schedule wasn't so I guess you could say
Compacted.
yeah, or too strict. Well,
Yeah.
the good news is this: like you're not the only one in this economy. Me being in and even in human resources, what I'm starting to see is I'm starting to see people like that are grandmothers who are in their 60s, 65, get into the job market, working in a warehouse. And it's sad to say that many of these people, they're not in the shape for it. They just worked like 40 whole years, 50 whole years, finally retire, and now they're just being called back because of this economy. I've even seen people get hurt in the warehouse as well at that young age, constant, workers' comp, and it's a shame. But I know in November the economy added like 265,000 jobs. The Bureau of Labor pretty much said topping. So here's the thing, right? Buried in the details though, 165,000 people hold multiple jobs and in that economy. So of those jobs, 165 of those jobs were now someone's second job. And it's crazy to say that more than enough people, pretty much 4 out of 5 people are getting a second job now in this economy where we used to be able to just have one good job.
Yeah.
And let's talk about rent. Like rent is high now.
Everything is high now. Even if you go on the market, it just seemed like the prices have doubled after COVID-19. I mean, you gave us some stimulus money to stimulate the economy, but then you raised the prices on everything after that stimulus money is gone.
Exactly. So the stimulus, it definitely helped out the economy. It definitely brought it back up. I think a lot of businesses did very well during COVID because of the stimulus, so it helped so much. But now we're back to the nitty gritty. We all need to work. And so it's saying right here, another stat is this: most adults, 68%, either already have or plan to pick up a side gig like delivering food or with DoorDash or renting out extra spaces in their homes, according to a neighbor.com survey of 1,000 people taken in October. In October. So this being said, like I used to do DoorDash, I used to do Lyft and Uber. As soon as I remember one time, how it is. I bet it's a bunch of people out who are there who are just shacking up right now just so they won't have to pay the bills alone. I know some people probably in the house right now with their baby mamas and their baby daddies. Like, I can't leave this crib because I can't afford to.
We're in a situationship economy.
Exactly. This is definitely the situationship economy, man. I know rent's like $1,500 just for like a 1-bedroom apartment or a home at this point.
Yeah.
And you still got utilities. Let's say, how we watch a TV, we might be paying like what, $200 in electric. Like, and then we still got water to pay. Then we still gotta get food. Right now I'm counting up for like at least like over 2,000. You might even have a car with a car note or insurance. Man, you still gotta feed yourself as well. If you're not making like $2,400, you barely can make it with $2,400 a month, and that's if you got that's like a $20 per hour job, which so many people might gloat about.
Right. Now, just to kind of add some tidbits in there, if you really think about it, if you're working one job and you're getting paid bi-weekly, you're only getting 26 checks in the year, and that just doesn't cut it, because even with the one job, it's like you get paid Friday or whatever day you get paid, and before you know it, your all your money is accounted for before you even get paid. So whatever extra additional expenses or leisures or anything else of that nature, it's like, okay, now I have to borrow from myself, my future self, which is, if you know, the saying, you rob Peter to pay Paul, and basically what that means is you're robbing your future self to pay yourself in the now, and neither one of them are benefiting because once you get to the future, you still owe yourself. Exactly. So it's like you're working backwards. It's like a carousel. You know, it's a merry-go-round, and it's another trap of this economy of ours.
Exactly. Like, all right, if you got one job, of course, like $2,400 might pay your bills, but we gotta have fun too, right? We gotta we working hard. We gotta play hard,
right?
So I see. Well, I'm even in my situation. I'm honestly, I'm in a roommate situation. I make a good amount at my jobs. I'm a bartender too, so I have a business that's doing well. I'm a bartender, and I have a full-time human resource job as well. That being said, I just got enough so I could have some fun as well. But many people, they're just scraping by for food and everything, and it's a shame.
Right. That one job is like, okay, I'm a slave. I'm a slave to my bills. I go to work just to go to work, and I can't maintain a lifestyle, and I come to the realization of that. Maxing out multiple credit cards, credit lines. There's certain things, that you can be more disciplined and say no to, like birthdays and holidays and so on and so forth. But when you're used to that, or when you want to participate in that versus not, because of that's what you want to do, then you should be able to do that. You work hard to be able to do the things that you want to do outside of paying the bills.
Exactly.
The bills are like a prerequisite. You got Sam in your pocket before you get your check, and then you got Bill in your pocket after you get paid. So Sam and Bill, they doing the 1-2 punch.
Yeah, man, it's bad like that, and it's crazy to think about. Like we really have to have two jobs to have a good vacation. And what I'm seeing too, oftentimes is I hear a lot of people problems often, and people are getting these credit cards, and they're like, during the holiday season where most of the purchases are made, they're maxing out their cards, and they spend a whole year paying back their cards.
Yeah. And if you're paying the minimum, and you max it out, you're really not paying anything. And I come to the realization of that, and I start looking at my bill, and I start looking at my payments, and I'm like, okay, if I'm paying $40 but the card is maxed out, I'm only really paying like $20 because they're taking about half of that payment in interest. So I definitely advise you to look at your bills, and I definitely advise you not to max out your cards.
Yeah, I've done it in the past. You ever said, "Yo, I'm gonna pay this back in 6 months"? You ever thought about that? You're like, it's only $1,000. I can get this in 6 months, and
right.
Then everything wrong goes in your life. It's like, you know what? This might take a year and a half at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we really gotta be disciplined with it. But that being said, we only live one life, like YOLO.
Yeah.
Like, all right, so I got this goal. I want to go to every state. So I've came to realization I'm old. I'm 31. I'm not 31. Yeah, I'm gonna be 31 like next month. I'm just already putting the one there. I got
You're
a whole
mature.
month. I got a whole month, right?
You're rated in for mature.
At this point, rated in for mature, right? And I want to go to every state. If I come to realization, we have how many states we got again?
50.
So if I want to go to every state, right? I got like 47 or 45 more states to go to. I haven't checked so far. Let's be conservative. Let's say 45. If I do a state a year, how many years is that?
45 years.
All right, good. I was about to say, let me not slip on my math here. So that's 40. Johnny had 5 apples. So I would have to spend 45 years, and I'm 30. I'll be 70, around 75 before I get my bucket list done.
Push it to the limit.
But then also I want to go to other countries. So I had to be real with myself the other day. I was like, yo, I need to really figure this out. And just living paycheck to paycheck and having a little funky 500 left over normally with just one job is not enough. So that being said, like if you want to go to Florida, if you want to go to these nice trips in like Dubai, these are like 3 or 5G trips here, so you can even enjoy it. So you would have to even save up like 2-3 years normally with just one job just to try to make it, hoping inflation doesn't hit you. And there's a lot of times people with good jobs, right? We get let's say we make like 60-70K a year, right? They give us a little bit more extra percentage raise every year so we can beat inflation. But stats are showing now, and studies are showing now that inflation is even beating that out. At first, we were okay, the middle class. But now we are all where you need 2 jobs. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy because let's go back to the situationships. I want to know. Hit me up. Hit me on social media, Medium Ghetto podcast, and let me know if you're in a situationship, right? And you just can't leave because the rent is either you stay with this your ignorant baby dad or your ignorant baby mom, or you got to get that 1,500 by yourself.
Yeah, I mean, we got some people, we got some aunts and uncles that are still in situationships. You know, your old lady, your old man, that's just somebody you live with for a very long time. You're married by commonwealth, but you're not married. You're not married under paperwork, but you've been living together because you know you can't afford to move in separate places.
Yep. And it's so even over the last, so get this right, another stat. So 18 to 40-year-olds remain the largest group of side hustlers. You know why? Because we out here in the streets, we working hard, but we taking off. And if our boss tells us we can't take off, we just not coming to work. Yeah. That's the good news. Because how many people you know, like think about it, how many people you know doing DoorDash on the side or putting in extra hours? I feel as though like a 40-hour week is the minimum, but most of us are doing 60 hours a week.
Right.
If we're not living with our parents.
Yeah.
If you live with your parents, these people, I've seen it even where I'm at, like they're living with their parents still and they're still doing the 40 hours. They're getting paid well, but I bet as soon as they have to leave, it's going to be trouble.
Yes. So stay with your parents as long as you can. Don't make them an enemy.
Please don't.
If they ask you to pay a minimal rent, especially if it's under $500, then do that. Because if you're going to go rent a room somewhere else and you're not going to get the amenities, you might as well just stay at home. It's not that big of a deal. You know, you might want to move out to try to impress somebody or, you know, have your own personal space if you want to get into a form of relationship, which is advisable. But at the same time, you definitely want to double check your books.
Exactly. Keep double checking before what happens is you're going to keep saying YOLO with the little money you got, and then a situation happens when your mom might get fed up or somebody might get fed up, or you will get fed up eventually because you can't be your biggest self if you don't own the spot. This is advice to kids who are possibly listening.
Right.
Save up.
Yeah, you can very easily go from, well, I'll put it this way. There's a thin line between YOLO and oh no. Because it can be just like that in a very short time. You know, you're out here, you're living life, you're managing that lifestyle, and before you know it, that lifestyle is really draining your account. And
exactly.
We live in a buy now, pay society, and before you know it, you're buying and paying everything later, and you don't really have any money when that paycheck comes in because everybody is grabbing your money before you can even get to it.
Yo, like, what is it, Klaviyo? Yeah, Klaviyo. What else is there?
Afterpay, Affirm. I even have the Dave's app where you can borrow a certain amount of money, and as soon as your money drops, like, they're in that account getting their money back.
Yo, it's crazy. What interest?
With interest.
I've done that before, and those are bad habits to have, especially with like apps like the Dave app. You getting that $200 to $300, and usually when you get the $200 to $300 like ahead of time, you're spending it on something totally dumb that you're not gonna remember at all. Like, I don't even remember what I bought with the $200. All right, went out to eat when I should have went out to eat.
Right.
And then at the end of the month, I'm like, yo, I'm back like 200. So now I got to work more hours and be unhappy. But one thing I wanted to, just transition to is like what is like with this new economy, this 2-job economy, we're working like 70 to 80 hours at our age. We're getting more and more, tired. But we also have bucket lists. Like, what are some of your things on your bucket list, Aaron?
I don't have an actual written bucket list out, but I'm actually going to be having a vision board party tomorrow. So I'll be getting a little bit more clear on some of the goals and things I want to do this year and next year. For the most part, when I'm not working, because you work so much in the 2-job economy, you just want to be left alone. You just want to go to sleep and have it to be uninterrupted. And then when you wake up, you want some warm dinner and all of your wife's or child's to-do list already done.
Yeah, that's adulting. I heard something like that said happiness, you have to work at happiness. Happiness is like a shower. You gotta take happiness every day and you gotta work on it or you won't be happy. And they also said happiness is a structure, meaning like you have to structure your life to create happiness. You gotta start thinking about it. All right, what makes me unhappy? A dirty room, maybe. Eating dinner on the time, right? But at the end of the day, if you don't eat, let's say if you don't eat dinner on the time, you become hangry. So guess what you got to do? Go get what?
Something to eat.
Yeah, get them groceries. So now you got to prep. So it does take structure to be happy. But another thing is like, we're going to go back to the vision board. Like, what is a vision board?
So a vision board is where you either cut out or do printouts of different things that are visually stimulant to your goals, your dreams, your aspirations, and things you want to do and see. So seeing is believing. So putting those visual pieces on that board and putting that board somewhere where you'll see it every day, and basically you're working to manifest and not just manifest alone, but you're working and manifesting your dreams because the universe works in your favor and not against you.
That's awesome. And I heard like I like manifesting, yet I also like the science of it. It's kind of like when you get a new car. You ever get a new car and at first you never seen this car around, so you think, yo, I'm the man. I don't see this car nowhere. You get that new car, you see a car everywhere, right?
Yep.
It's like that because you see it so often, it becomes normal and common to you. And when things become so normal and common to you, you're more open to grabbing those things. That's why I think a vision board is important. I need to make one still. I don't have I haven't had the discipline to actually sit down and make one. But I feel as though if I made one, I would know what my focuses are. And I think even with spending, the reason why a lot of us have 2 jobs at this age, we could have pretty much worked hard and had an easier life at this point. But many of us, we just didn't learn, like financial like structure,
yes.
And we got bad habits that we're still breaking right now. And one of the baddest habits we have is like a lack of priorities and
In the budget.
and a budget. So like priorities is right like this, right? Let's say you got like the 5 biggest things to you in your year. So you pick these 5 biggest things. It could be family, it could be exercise, like with health and stuff like that. It could be finances, it could be buying another home. And if things are not your priority, you're supposed to say no to them. But a lot of times this is me. I would have these 5 priorities. I'd be working on these 5 priorities, but I would also be bleeding out my income or my energy by saying yes to other things too.
Right. Now, I'll piggyback on that and make a point to that matter. We we do a lot of things, and we don't really think about them as we're doing them, but then we become insoluble. We become bitter almost, where we're really not enjoying what we're doing anymore, regardless of if the pay, or regardless of the benefits of what it has to offer. And to that point, we work, and then we want to get emotionally stimulated. So a lot of the money and the spending comes from a lack of discipline, and also the emotional stimulus part, because a lot of the things that we do, the spending habits, I know females in particular, they like to go shopping. They get upset and they want to go buy Shein and Fashion Nova, and before you know it, you got package arriving at your door every single day. So and Amazon too, Amazon Prime. So men get into that as well, as far as Amazon Prime. I'm gonna buy me a few extra tools. I know it'll come into good use at some point in time, but that's right now money that you shouldn't be spending right now.
I'll be quite honest. I've purchased a drill in my home, right? And I've used it twice. Everyone else uses my tools more than I do. And I bought it because I was like, oh man, this will be nice and convenient. I only use it twice.
Right. And then there's a thing of, you want to be reliable, because you want to have, you want to be in a position to be able to take advantages of opportunities to make extra money. So even outside of the two jobs, you're always still doing something, rather it's crafts, rather it's, making candles, rather it's knitting sweaters, rather it's shoveling snow in the summertime, cutting grass I'm shoveling snow in the wintertime, excuse me.
I'm like, whoa, what's going on?
Cutting grass in the summertime, raking leaves, whatever case may be, helping somebody with groceries, or doing paint jobs, so on and so forth, cleaning jobs, whatever case may be. There's still other odds and ends that we don't even account for around the two jobs that we already have, and the lack of time that we already have. We underestimate the value of sleep.
Sleep. If you don't get enough sleep, you can get depression. You can get anxiety. You can become more anxious. Lack of sleep can mess up important relationships in your life.
It can very well age you as well.
Yep, and we only live one life, so sometimes, like, this is how I get real myself. Like, is money that important that you're gonna waste your life? Like, what our focus is at this time shouldn't be like more so money itself and using it. I remember I went to this conference, right? It was, I forgot my man's name, Grant Cardone. So he had a business conference, right? It was like a boot camp. We did like a boot camp. It cost like $2,000. So I saved up $2,000 just for 2 days of a business conference, right? I learned so much, and what they said was this: poor people just get money to spend it. Middle classes get money to save it, then spend it. It's a little bit longer, you keep it in your bank account, looks good, but your main goal is, I'm gonna save this so I can buy something bigger, which is nice. You get a little bit bigger. And then the wealthy people they get money to invest it to create more income. So a lot of the times, and my mistakes in my past is, I would get the money and I'd be like, all right, let me just get something to enjoy. Like you said, hey, I might get, how this week might have been, I might get me a 6-pack. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And some chips or something. Right. I want to have a nice relaxing day instead of investing in my future. So in the next 2 years, I'm not going to have to work that much. Right. And then also, like, you're a family man. I was once, married. And what you do in that situation, you want to make sure your family is okay when you're a man. You want to make sure they're having a great time. So you might work so many hours, but you don't really see them that often. I was working 7 a.m. and getting off at 10 p.m. Pretty much 6 out of 7 days. Wow. And it was rough, because it hurts you and it hurts your relationship, because you just really want to spend time with each other, Yeah. I know a lot of people, even not gonna say names, even at like I know from career wise is their wives have threatened to leave them. So is the money that important? Your wife might know something you don't know. So at the end of the day, I know we want to, please our wives and our kids and make sure they get the things we were not able to get. But also our wives, we're like not letting our wives get a chance and our kids get a chance to be with us, which is what they mainly want.
Yeah. They say you spell love Time.
Exactly.
So,
Can't get it back.
You got to definitely be intentional with your time, because you make time for the things that you want. And outside of wanting to be stable, we all want to be stable because we want to be able to do the things that we want to do when we want to do them. We want that flexibility, which we deserve, I believe, if we put that time in and we work hard and, we show up on our time. For me, I show up on my time. So for the most part, most people would say I'm late, which I don't really have an issue with here or there. But yeah, you want to be there for your family for the important parts. And a lot of the jobs, they're taking a lot of the benefits out of it, where you don't get a certain amount of time off, or you only get PTO, paid time off, and you don't have sick days and personal days. All your time is set to one time. You don't all of those. You have to use that PTO for sick, personal, and vacation.
Yep.
So it only accrues a certain amount, depending on how much time you're working, and then it really doesn't account for the amount of time that you're working. If you get sick, most of the time it's going to take you 2 to 3 days to get better, and before you know it, you only got enough time to take off one day, or can afford to take off one day, and then you're back at work sick. And you don't really know what that's doing to your body. You don't really know what that's doing to your mind state.
Exactly. I've seen one sad story, right? A young lady, so jobs are pretty cutthroat. If you get sick and you break their attendance policy, they're going to fire you. Where's the thing? If you're working 60 hours that week just to make it, then you get sick and then you lose your job, so you lose your income, right? But also, if you lose hours, you're not getting paid for the hours you lost all the time, right? Some people have like unpaid time.
Yeah.
Meaning you can not be here, but you won't get paid, which is really just a day off. So they have like some jobs have things like that. And I see it often. If like most people, I think they said like a year ago, if most people like lost $300 in that week, they could get evicted. They couldn't get food. But $300, that's really just 1 or 2 days that could really set you back. And that's crazy to think about.
Right. And then sometimes you might even take off. Like me, I speak from personal experience. I've taken off the daytime job to work the side hustle to make more money in a shorter period of time, because I know I would still be getting paid. I had paid time off, so I know I would still be getting paid. Then I had to go make more money with the side hustle just to kind of get through to that paycheck, and just to do it all over again. So it could be a really painful and tedious grunt like task, and that can become your life.
Exactly.
And before you know it, you worked all this time, you don't really know where the time went, and you have those things that you can look back on that would make you say it was worthwhile, but you don't really know until you get older the toll that it really took on your body.
Exactly. As a man, I think they say we die like first, kind of like, and when it comes to the family, we're like the first person to pretty much go. And I think this was my realization this year to reflect on is like, I have so much active income, meaning income I have to do work at that moment to make, but I have no passive income, meaning if I get sick or whatever, I just don't make no money. And my New Year's resolution was to create more, passive income, so I can have more time to, maybe spend with a family or something I have in the future. and just make life count, because it's not really worth it to live and just work your whole life. And listen, man, at this point it's kind of like, it feel like you get rich or die trying at this point, man.
Right.
You're just not gonna make it if you if you don't figure out something. Because these, again, like these older people who are like 65, senior citizens, are going back to any job that will take them, and sometimes it's a labor job. So can you imagine your grandmother or your grandfather who hasn't worked for about a decade, and now you have to go out and work 40 hours. Some of these jobs are doing these new shifts, like 10 to 12-hour shifts, on their feet.
Yeah, that's tough. That's very tough, and I'm glad you went back to that point, because before we started to record, I had mentioned that, why isn't the conversation about retirement had before you even start working? Because you need to have a certain amount of money in retirement to really be able to live the lifestyle that you want to live. So I think that's the way things should be structured. But oftentimes you don't hear about retirement until you get to the 55 to 65 range, when you're about to retire. By that time, you probably don't even know what you have saved up in retirement, and you don't even, you're probably banking on Social Security and pension from 10 different jobs and whatever the case may be, and who knows what you may have borrowed from, or what retirement money that you already took from whatever jobs you left and didn't put back into your retirement plan, and you don't have an independent retirement plan, and it's just shambles. By the time you get into retirement, you don't really get to retire. You don't really get to enjoy the retirement, or you're basically poor. You're less than middle class. You're poor now. So now you have a lot of our older folks living with their kids or with a relative. So that's another situationship all in itself that we haven't even gotten into. Now, tap in with Jamar if you're in one of those type of situationships as well.
Let me know. I need to figure it out. I want to hear that one. But any advice? And like, when do you think we should start having these conversations?
Early, like 14, age 14 early. Like, what is retirement? Your kids should know what retirement is before they start to work. They should have a solid concept of what it means to pay themselves first. We oftentimes hear that, but we don't really understand what it means. Oh, I should be able to spend some of my money on getting what I want before I start to pay my bills, or I should partially pay my bills that I can pay, or I should pay the minimum on my credit card and, live whatever lifestyle I choose to live, or eat out, or, do whatever it is that I think I should do with this money that I should pay myself. No. That could be the farthest thing from the truth. So we need to have some of those concept ideas ironclad, and a firm understanding of what we're really working for and towards.
So, in layman's terms, how can we pay ourselves first correctly?
Correct. That's just one of the things that we need to come to an understanding of. And why are we paying ourselves first? What does that actually really mean? And
give me an example.
I can. So basically, because of retirement, and that's what you're working for and towards, because one day, if you decide you want to stop working, or you want to stop doing whatever it is that you have to do to bring in money in the household, and actually go do something that you want to do, then we want to get to a point of retirement, which is not really an age, it's an amount of money, which is not the conversation that's being had. It's not brought to us in that manner. So we don't look at it and have that type of perspective. We just think, okay, we arrive at 65, we arrive at 67, and you know what? I can retire and I can go home and I can do leisure activities, or I can watch the stories and, live off of this income that's coming in from all the work that I've done. And we're finding out that it's not true. And we're not even going to get into the cost of these retirement homes.
Yeah. We might. I don't know. I might be interested. That might be a whole different subject in the future.
Yeah.
But like how I looked at it, how I found out retirement, I found out retirement like late. Like I found out what it really meant for real, when I was like 28. And it's when your money outlives you. So like honestly, all right, let's say right now, this is what you need to start thinking is, if I stop working tomorrow or I start working today, how long can I pay my bills for?
Yep. And maintain your lifestyle.
Maintain your lifestyle.
If you're looking to maintain a lifestyle in retirement.
I don't know. It might not last a week. But we're not going to go there. So it's crazy because many people, they wouldn't last a week. They wouldn't probably last a day. Because just think about it. How long will what I have in the bank right now can I use to maintain my lifestyle? And like, all right, let's say you do retire at 65. You just start working at 65. Well, all you have in the bank, will it outlive you? And just to put this in perspective, people are living longer. So you need a higher amount than what your grandparents would need. And your grandparents my grandparents are still alive. So I'm like, yeah, like 80, 90. They're like 90, over 90.
Wow.
So, well, my grandfather passed away, but my grandmother, she's over 90. And I think my great grandma passed away over 100. So that being said, they're living a very long life. So like, all right, let's say $250,000, right? And you currently spend $50K a year. That's only five years. So let's say, how long would it take to pretty much for 25 years to go past, so you can hope you pass away at like a good time and live well? You would probably need at least $3 to $4 million just to live a bare minimum lifestyle with a little bit of trips, and we're not going to count for inflation at all.
Yeah.
So be honest, like, all right, with the 2 jobs, this is what I had to realize, having 2 jobs, what am I going to do with this opportunity and this energy with 2 jobs?
Right. And even with those 2 jobs, where I'm pretty sure, I'm not going to speak for everybody, but I'll speak for myself. I'm still not thinking about retirement. I'm not thinking about, okay, I got to save $4 million. I got to save $6 million. I got to save this amount of money. I don't even know how much money is in my retirement right now, what's being allocated, what portion I'm paying, what portion my job is paying, how much more I should be saving in those accounts, or how much I should be saving independently in my own private account to really reach the goal of whatever age it is that I want to retire at, and my money outliving me to however long I'm going to live to after I retire.
Oh wow. So are you looking to like invest it soon though? With like, usually when people get 2 jobs, we all know we overspent, and the reason why we honestly got 2 jobs is to get that money back.
Yeah, to get backtracked.
I'm
gonna get the money back.
Cards. Yeah, we got the high credit cards. We got like the $10,000 credit cards. We end up spending like that in like a few weeks. And we're like, we'll pay it back over like 2 years. And now we got to have 2 jobs for the next 5 years, because that's just how life works out.
Yeah.
But that being said, like just having 2 jobs it's like this too. I forgot the name of the theory, like the thought process, but it's like we as people, we treat money like our bank account like a plate of food, right? Whatever's on the plate of food, the people eat. A lot of people don't realize a lot of people in America are obese because we have bigger plate sizes in America. Other places, they have smaller plate sizes, because in our mind, it's to consume. It is always to consume. So where I'm going with this is how, like, we have to start putting things in different bank accounts. If we have 2 jobs, so we won't think about it. I remember when I had, well, oh man, before COVID hit, so I was working, I was a server, and I had a 9 to 5. You know what's cool about that? I was going straight to my serving job right after my 9 to 5. But I didn't have when you get, you know, you just get tips, so you're just getting cash. So it was one point where I was just like, where's all my money going? But guess what? I had a safe. So I looked at my safe and I was like, man, I hope I got like a couple $100 to pay this bill. Man, I looked at my safe because it was like out of sight, out of mind. I had $9,000 in cash in my safe.
Wow.
I just didn't have enough time to put the money in the bank account. I just kept forgetting to do it. I was like, I'll do it later. And I was living off my first job. So it was just like, oh, wow. So I remember this is a book called Profit First, right? You got to definitely read it. They got it it's mainly for entrepreneurs, but it tells you to pretty much have a smaller plate. Only put in your bank account what you're going to spend for it. A lot of people don't, like, honestly, like, I learned this too, and I wish I knew this quicker. Like, leasing cars might be a better option than you trying to finance a car. And that's what I mean. A lot of times we're paying the minimums on our finances, meaning the car will eventually pretty much go out of commission before we pay it off. But if you lease, which is a little cheaper in most circumstances, right, you could just trade in for a new car anyway.
Good point.
So those are some of the things I learned. I was like, wait. And a lot of, wealthy people, they're leasing their cars because they don't really need it. It's really a depreciating asset. And it's really just a liability at that point that they don't really need. So they're like, why put this on their credit? And then what allows them to put better things on their credit, like homes. Like, I'm learning this for one of my friends. What they're doing is this. They did the first time homes buyer program, right? And they were able to buy a home, but then they rented it out, and they used something called a conventional loan. But before they used the conventional loan to get that down payment for that conventional loan, what they did was this: they upgraded their first home, and then they appraised it. So now the value is there, and they refinanced it. So they gave them enough money for a down payment for the next home. And what they're doing now is they keep recycling that thing. But this guy, this fella I'm talking about, he honestly works like at his full-time job for like 60, 70 hours. So it's like he has 2 jobs. But he's being smart with his income and building more instead of just letting it, use it. Because we're going to use it no matter what. You're going to figure out a way to use your money. I realized this. I was like, I could just save it. It's easier to invest your money before you spend it on dumb stuff.
Yeah. That's definitely a conversation to be had, and oftentimes should be had early on, just like retirement. Really understanding and coming to the grips of the difference between assets and liabilities. And I believe there should be some. I believe there should definitely be some bridge building. Because there are some gaps within society or within just our community. I'll speak for Black and brown folks. The way culture is set up for us, we don't have some of those practices within our culture to really get a firm understanding around these things like money. Which we need to do so we can be better, a better society, and we can basically elevate the generations to come where they don't have to be in the same position that we are in currently.
Yes. So they really just teach us in school is get a good job, get a good education, and get a good job. And at this point, like, you see how much these private schools cost. Like, these people are leaving with $250,000 of debt. I know people who are like in their 40s and they've been paying it for like 20 years straight, and they're like, I'm never going to pay it off. It works good on my credit though. But to be honest, you got to take, financial responsibility in our own hands at this point. And like, just having a job is really, you don't own that income at all. You're kind of borrowing it. And this is what I mean. Once you're incapacitated either from lack of time or you can't get to work or something stops you from getting there, they're going to get rid of you. Yeah. So at that point, you got to use that opportunity to build more opportunities. So what I can just go a little bit with like what I'm doing business wise is, even with the hot sauce I sell. So we got hot sauce, Lawson Sauce _ LLC is the IG plug right there. Look us up. We sell hot sauce. We sponsor a lot of taco festivals as well. We do food and catering we even did it for like Penn Medicine. But what we did as a team is we invested in equipment from our extra jobs to create more. And what we've seen is in about 2 days, we invested like $400 or $500 worth of equipment, like a $200 grill from Cabela's and other things. And we'll invest like $800 for like a 2-day weekend, and we'll come home with close to like 6-7 G's from hot sauce and food in 2 days. And that's an income now that we own, and no one can take it from us because we own that.
That's sweet.
Yeah, like 2 jobs is nice, but having your own situation, your own business is nice as well, because now no one can tell you how much you can't make. There's no cap on your salary. You can only put that cap on your salary,
Right.
And like just hourly positions, we know we want to raise.
Mm-hmm.
We realize from the first check or two it's not enough, right?
Yeah. There's definitely other ways of making income outside of your regular 9-to-5 401k job.
Mm-hmm.
So those are things that we also need to understand and have a good establishment on as well. It's a lot of things that we have to do in building our culture and conversation that need to be had within our culture for us to be able to better benefit and not be at a disadvantage and at an advantage when we're out here navigating the world.
Absolutely. So we're going to end this on a good note. What are a few tips and what are a few lessons you want them to take with them?
The first thing I'll say is get a firm understanding of what retirement is. I still don't even have a firm understanding of what retirement is and how to get to that retirement amount at a desired retirement age. So if you can get that understanding before you start the work, and you can get a firm understanding of what it is to pay yourself first and get a private retirement account outside of your 9-to-5s, because once you leave that job, they don't still continue to contribute to your retirement plan. You know what I mean? Get an understanding of how those different aspects work as far as the pension, the 401k, and the difference between those things. So that way, once you get to retirement, you actually know what you have, and how long it's going to last you.
All right. And just to piggyback on that, he's absolutely right. The best thing you can do is find the question first. If you have the question, there are a lot of answers out there. You will find the answer that's going to work for you. So you figuring out what retirement is, how much you need to retire. And retirement doesn't doesn't have to look at like you're at home all day for like 25 years doing nothing. Retirement could be you opening a business. It could be you traveling the world. It could be you, all that stuff. So that being said, be resourceful, build your income in a way where you could retire at any age. You just got to pick the time to retire, and you got to realize that you're accountable for your retirement. With that being said, hey, stay medium ghetto. Remember, don't go full ghetto. And peace.
Peace.
It's medium ghetto when we think you watching for listening, viewing, and tuning on in. Joining the left of the facts and for summers to cap, we can't wait till we do it again. You know we love you and we gonna see you next time again. Thank you for joining the gang. If they ask about us, don't fret, just tell them we medium ghetto, it's all in the name. Yeah.